Hello, fellow energy explorers. First of all, thank you for all the reactions I received on the video, which was about energy attracts energy, and choose wisely what you do with it. And also be honest about it. And it actually was about what you attract, and especially for women, yeah, it's also possible for men, to be very conscious about it and to acknowledge that you're doing it. Internally attracting what is happening. Okay, I received actually a few questions, and I'm gonna like go over them all. Like I'm gonna give my perspective on it, and also gonna explain, because I noticed, which I loved actually, that people were very honest about how they felt, how they got triggered, but it was not in a projective, like really putting it all on me and like getting angry at me. It was totally not like that. It was very clear and like very open and still like warm, just like really wanting to understand, like, okay, but what is it then? Because I feel when you were saying this, in a sense, I could like understand, but in the other way, I got very triggered, like, what? So really thank you for all these questions. I love it. It's something to give further to anyone who's looking at this and who wants to go deeper. Okay, so when you're talking about sexual abuse or things that happened that really meant that somebody crossed the line, there was one person who was like, yeah, but what do you tell to a young child who has had this? And how do you then like perceive yourself towards your inner child? Okay, these are two separate things for me. So first of all, you have what has happened when you were a young child. This person was like, you cannot tell me that I as a child could have said no. Okay, honestly, and also that I have as a child have asked to happen, to let this happen. To be really honest, energetically, and I'm not talking about the what is on the surface on a human level, because on a human level, especially when it's about children, even I have it. It's very sensitive. Like children are innocent, and still these things happen. So on an energetic level, this is true. On an energetic level, the child is actually really asking to let this happen. But let's look at it in another perspective. Let's look at it as unconsciousness. Your unconsciousness, and even your soul, has decided before coming into this life, and I know I'm talking like floating in the air and Saskia, what you're doing, but this in essence, this is what I truly believe and what I've also experienced and what has really helped me to understand and to become actually way much more powerful and grounded. So as a soul, you have decided these are the things that are most definitely are going to happen in the life that I'm going to reincarnate to. And those are the things that I call, these are karmic things. You cannot avoid it. It's unavoidable. It is going to happen. If you want it or not, then you can postpone sometimes. That is true. Yeah, it's going to happen. Like it's something that you decided to fix. Like it's fixed in your line of reincarnation. I also had clients where I could see you have been postponing it so much that certain things will not happen in this life, but it's for the next one. You take it with you. So, especially for this, it is your soul that has decided, okay, I'm going to bring this to myself to get the experience and to the lessons to learn from. You can be like, how can this awful thing be such a blessing? Like honestly, well, what are you thinking? It's so cruel, and it's so like, this is a child. I know. Yet innerly, if I tune in to things that happen, that I'm like, ugh, as a human being, like, seriously? Honestly, when I tune in and I feel energetically, it's always action, reaction, energy asking for. So, as a child, in essence, you're on unconscious level, because I honestly have never noticed that a child was conscious about this. You have asked for this. So once you know this, once you accept, that's actually the most important thing. Once you accept that you as a child already were in the energy of attracting this to yourself, and you become an adult. I'm not telling you like when you're a child that you have to like, no, like you're a child. This happens, you're gonna freeze or you're gonna flight or you're gonna rebel or whatever. But once you become more, yeah, like you become adults, you grow up, events, people will give you the opportunity to clear things out. And this is your responsibility to do so. If it like comes to the surface, it's not your, it is your responsibility, but it is a possibility for you to clear it out. So for the person who has sent me this question, if this triggered you so immensely on this specific theme, that what you have experienced as a child, it is your moment. It is your moment to take and to clear it out. It's a possibility, an opportunity that has been given to you to now look into it. This has happened as a child. You were as a child in the form you were at that time, not in a possibility to do something about it. What can you do now? How can you work on this so it gets a release? So you can put it in a place where it's not constantly like you anymore. And also what I've noticed when people have experienced these things, also when they were in their teenage years and things has happened, often I see they use it as a reason, as an argument, or actually an excuse to not go and step into their own power, to not go and take responsibility. So this is something that you as a person, as a human being, especially when you've grown up, you have to look at it. Honestly, when the thing that happened to me, if someone would have told me, you have to clear it out, now it's an opportunity, I would have been like, well, I was not in the ability and the person that I was, the energy that I had still inside, I was not in the possibility to clear it out. Yet for this person who is asking me this question, you are. So take a closer look at it and take the steps towards it. If you want specific steps, ask me and I'll give you some like practical things that you can do. Okay, next energy question was, which I actually don't understand that well, but like when you're talking about energy, energy is not something that you can reflect on human years. Yeah, I don't understand this question, to be honest. It's like energy is energy. It doesn't matter if it's in human form or it's on the moment that you decide to go and reincarnate and so on. It's the energy. Energy is energy. So yes, energy does count on the moment that you're in human years. It does count from the moment you enter into this life till the moment you leave. You cannot take yourself out of it on the equation. Like it's like you get, the birth is there and you die. You got born, yeah, okay. The birth is there and you die. Energy is there from in the beginning. You cannot run away from this. It's in constant time over there. I also forgot one thing. The other person, the first one, she also asked, is it possible that your inner child really feels this? Is the inner child conscious of it? Well, specifically for this, so you are talking about the child who has a childhood experience, which was physical abuse, sexual abuse. And then you're talking about inner child. Your inner child is something totally different. Your inner child is you. And honestly, if you're really in tune with your inner child, it's actually your unconscious layer that you can make very conscious. So it depends. It depends on which level you are with your inner child, if you can truly communicate with that part of you. For this person, I feel you are not yet there. I feel you're not fully in contact with your inner child, and it is necessary that you take it up again. Because what I feel in your question now is that you were putting things on it that was not really sent out. I know that this is not always nice to hear, yet I feel you're not fully in line. She is not in the possibility yet to show you what is really what really is there. So try to also work on this, and it's gonna give you so much more clarity. Okay. Then the other question was like, okay, you're talking about it's energy attracting energy, and yeah, that it's actually pretty difficult to like put this in the society where we live. That is true. There's a reason why I started making these videos, because I see that we as a society are still feeding energies that I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, this really needs to change. I want this to change. I want us to become more conscious about our responsibility, because we're constantly feeding things that I'm like, you're feeding this because you do not want to go and step into your own power and take responsibility of what actually is yours to take responsibility for. The way you feel, the way you react, the way you behave, it is you. When you're angry, yesterday I had this discussion with someone, and I was like, anger is always on yourself. I know we as a society are always like, no, it's that person, I'm angry at that person. And I'm like, no, you are not. In essence, it's something that you reflect on, that like you project on the other one, or on society, or a politician. Oh my God. So many projections on politician that is actually yours. There is something deep down inside of you that you're not facing. And it's just very easy to go and put it on the other one, or try to take it from the other one, but then it's here, it's inside. So yes, concerning this thing, like, how do you put this into society? Yeah, like I'm doing right now. I'm trying to put this in this way in society. And next to that, you can just start like by being just very honest towards yourself and honest towards others. It's just that I would do it like that, to be honest. Then someone else who was like, the question was, I'm already starting to become conscious that I'm like attracting it. And this was just about patterns that she had in not sexual abusive relationships, but abusive relationships where she could feel that, yeah, they were like trying to manipulating her, intimidating her, and that it always like went in the same thing, on and on again. And she was like, I can already like consciously, I feel myself going into this, like I'm connecting with this partner. And I'm like, even when I'm conscious about this, I'm still going in it. And I get to the point where I'm like, okay, it's like total chaos again. And it's like with fights and like all emotional, heavy things that happen. And she was like, how can I get myself to the point where I am conscious already, but I'm not taking the step to say, no, I'm not taking the step to do this. Like, what is it then that I need more to like really firmly say no? Well, it is amazing that you're already conscious about this. This is a huge step. It actually always starts with the fact that you become very conscious about, oh, this is what I'm actually doing. And then you have to look at yourself, because this woman was still a little bit pointing fingers to the partner that she is still with. And then I'm like, you have to look at yourself. In this case, what is your fear? Like, what is it that makes you so fearful that makes you actually decide to stay where you are right now, while you actually really know this is not okay for me? In essence, this is showing me you are not okay. You are standing far away from yourself. You are not grounded. And you're not in tune. And that's why the intimidation can keep going on. The manipulation can keep going on. So what is it that you need? You need to be okay. Because when you are okay, when you're in line, when you feel you're coming to yourself again, your immediate reaction, your natural response will be like, hey, no. And in essence, you also be able to do it in such a harmonious and warm and loving way that there will be no fight, because you are so in tune, and the other one will also feel that. And that's amazing. The thing is, at this point, for the person who asked me this question, at this point, you're really far away from yourself. And you say that every once in a while, you say, okay, no, I'm done, and you leave. But then after a few days, you get drawn back to him again. This is gonna stay this way if you are not gonna start, first of all, taking a close look at yourself. What are you so fearful of that you decide to stay with this, let's say, shit? It is shit. It's a shitty energy. It's a shit situations that are bumping up all the time and coming up all the time. And it's not okay for you and for him. It's not that you are the victim and he's the big villain here. It's like an energy that is created in between the both of you. So what is it that makes you decide to, like, you know what, I'd rather stay in this shit energy than I'm leaving? There is something inherently deep there, and I mean like a very deep, fearful energy inside of you that you really have to address. And next to that, start with doing things that you're like, okay, this brings me back to myself. What I do is, like, I do ceramics, I go for long walks, I go and sit next to a tree, I hug trees, I write. I try to do as much of creative things that I feel like I'm zoned out and I was gone for like half an hour or an hour, and it helps me amazingly. And I notice now that I just need like half a day of forest or a full day of forest. I'm like, bah, back when it has been very intense. And I'm putting this in like a regular basis. So for this woman, you are powerful. Actually, for everyone, you are powerful. And you are the one who's holding the steering wheel. You decide what direction you're gonna go. And you decide if your fear is like grasping on and deciding where to go. Or you take it off and say, in the back, and I'm having it, and I'm keeping it. Or you say, yeah, okay, you can have it. Decide. First of all, decide, and then start taking the actions. And trust that even when you don't see the results, like immediately, it will come. You'll be okay. Okay, other question. Okay, then there was this woman who was like, I am not conscious of what's happening, yet I always tend to attract the same guys who are like always very dominant, and I, after a few months, start to feel that I become this shadow of myself. It's actually the same as the last question. So in this matter, it wasn't that it's like abusive in any way. It's just the fact that she realizes that she, because of being with this person, that she becomes just a small fraction of herself, and she kind of loses herself. She starts to, what was it again? Oh yeah, she starts to like lose also her friends. She doesn't want to like have contact with them. And she also noticed that her partner doesn't want that, and they have become very like isolated. She also stops with her hobbies and stuff like that. That's what she says. Like, I always have like this recurring pattern, and I feel it doesn't do me good, but I am not conscious about it. It's like only after a while that I'm like, what's happening here? For this person, same advice. You have to take a closer look at yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to come to see me and do a session here. Yet start looking for someone who is in the possibility to work on an energetic level. And there are a lot of people that say, oh, I'm so tuned in and I'm working on an energetic level. Trust your feeling in this. And when it turns out to be not the person that you actually really needed to go in deep, keep going and keep finding or searching for a person who can really confront you with what is there, but on a level which is warm, that you can build up further, that you can address it, but not in a way like just warm and lovingly, like there, and then you can grow further from it. So same thing. What do you love? Who do you love to be? Who do you want to be? What is it that you notice that happens with this person? What do you let go? Well, mostly of the time, this is actually what makes you you. And yeah, it's a process. But start to really find people who can support you in this, and also take steps through it. You have to decide and take the steps. Nobody can do this for you. Yet if you do not decide, it will not happen. And deciding is really this. It always, for me, when I'm giving a healing or when I'm speaking with someone, I sometimes am very like, repeat it again. Repeat it again. No, again. No, again. And I'm doing that because I'm like, I want to feel that the energy is in line with the decision of like, I'm changing this. Because sometimes the energy is like not in line with it. That's why I'm so firm in it to do so. Okay, another question. And I think we're going to have them all then. Okay. The last question was, what if I'm conscious about what has happened? It's someone who got also like raped. And she was like, it was during the moment that I was going through the grief and so on that I actually realized I have asked for this. And that in a way, she was also mentally like, I'm in this weird thing of like, yes, I have the power. This woman was actually very, this is very honest of like asking this question. So really, this is courageous, honestly. And she was like, okay, I have this thing where I'm like, I have the power because he is doing this. And this is what I wanted. While she had this thing of like, no, oh no, what's happening? And she was like, for me, it was so difficult to grasp, like, hey, but like something was like, I'm asking for this. And the other part was like, what's happening? No, I do not want to have this. And she asked like, well, what is this, first of all? And secondly, what do I have to do with this? Because I feel so guilty in a way. I feel so guilty towards myself and so ashamed. And then I just explained to her the energy. So this is someone that I actually gave. So all the others, I haven't given you answers because I wanted to put it on the video, but her, I gave a specific answer. So it's actually, you have to know that your subconscious, energy attracts energy. Your subconscious was asking for it. And this is the part there where you're like, yeah. And then you have the other, your unconscious was asking for it. And then you have the thing where you, as a human, you're going through the experience and where you're like, this, I don't want this. Because in essence, you don't want to have this kind of energy. It's pretty difficult to explain. Actually, my answer to her was much better. But it's like, at one point, your energy is really asking for it. And on the other hand, you're like, in essence, I don't want to have this. Like, So it's like the yin yang. It's like both is there. And she was just very conscious about what was really there. So for her, I actually gave the answer of like, this is just you. That one part that was asking for it and was actually trying to control it. And the other part was like, but both of those sides are you. And to be very honest, that side is the most important thing to take a closer look at. How come you were feeding on this? Because it's a feeding. You were feeding on the power you had. While in essence, if someone would look at the superficial layer, they would be like, what's the power in here? He's like doing his thing and she cannot do anything. While she already like kind of understood. Okay, those were not the lightest questions or the lightest subject actually. But I really wanted to like give my answer because I know that all the questions that I got now, a lot of other people want to have had those questions. I'm certain of it. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a video about this and like answer all the questions. So if you have any other questions, just send me. Below you can ask the questions. If you're like, actually this was a very helpful video for me, give it a thumbs up. And if you're like, this is actually the first time I see your video, or I already have seen it several times, videos of you, then subscribe to this channel. And in advance already a big thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.